Hey everyone, it's NakiAya. Today I wanted to talk about my experience with a vegan pregnancy. Now, I was not vegan the entire pregnancy, but I transitioned around the 6th month, I think it was. And the reason why I decided to transition in the middle of my pregnancy is because I was reading a book called African Holistic Health by Dr. Laila Africa, and I was also doing a lot of research on diet and nutrition and just natural medicine. I was also taking an herbology certification course at the time, and I was just learning about how the food that we eat, just in general, affects our body. And in the book African Holistic Health, Dr. Laila Africa talks about how the food that a pregnant mother eats affects her unborn child. And as I started to read it, I felt guilty about the way that I was eating. I was eating just a typical standard American diet. I remember on my lunch breaks at work, I'd often find myself at McDonald's or at other fast food places. I was just eating typical junk food. I was still eating meat and dairy at that point. But after I started to do more research and learn about the foods that I was putting in my body and how it was affecting me, and I started paying attention to more things such as reading food labels, like reading ingredients and things, I started to feel really guilty about the way that I ate, and I knew that I had to change, not only for myself, but for my unborn child. So for me, it was a gradual process. I didn't even have the intentions of going vegan in the first place. I just wanted to eat healthier. So I just naturally started cutting out meat. And after that, I just gradually cut out other products one by one. As I learned about a product and how it affected me, I cut it out my diet until I just eventually fully transitioned to eating a 100% vegan diet. And a lot of people ask me things like, was I experiencing any cravings, or how did I deal with cravings during pregnancy? And the answer to that is I honestly didn't really have a problem with craving. I remember in the beginning that one night I was craving scrambled eggs, but beyond that, that was pretty much it. I think the key to that is make sure you eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods. I think cravings are a sign that our body's telling us that we're not getting enough of something that we need. I made sure that I ate enough, and the foods that I did eat were healthy. And that also gets me into another subject of how I was dealing with anemia, which is also known as low iron levels. And I have been experiencing this for several years. I remember years back getting a blood test and having really low iron levels. But it wasn't really a problem at the time. But since I was pregnant, my doctor was telling me, she was looking at my levels. She was saying that my iron levels were so severely low that I was going to have a blood transfusion if I didn't get it up in time, because I was going to lose so much blood and it would be dangerous to myself. So she gave me some iron pills to take. And I remember I took the first one when I got home, and I immediately felt terrible after I took the pill. Like, I felt nauseous. I remember I felt irritable. It was just like my body was telling me that this was something toxic. And at this point, I became vegan, and I was learning about the nutritional values of different foods. And that's when I learned about different herbs and different greens and things that you can eat that are really high in iron. So that's when I started doing research, and I learned that kale, spinach, blackstrap molasses, there was an herb called nettle. And I also was eating fortified cream of wheat, which has a lot of iron in it. Nowadays, I wouldn't eat that, but back then, that was just that was all I knew back then. So after I found this out, I also did some research and found that vitamin C can increase your iron absorption. So I started incorporating more vitamin C into my diet. And every single day I was eating lots and lots of kale. I was drinking like this herbal tea concoction I made. I was taking blackstrap molasses and eating oranges and mangoes and other fruits that are high in vitamin C. And I was just doing that religiously. I also remember I was taking like a liquid supplement from Whole Foods, where it's just like a supplement that comes from whole food sources. So it's not like anything that's been extracted or synthesized or concentrated. It was just straight herbs and things like that. And after about, I want to say, a couple of months of eating that way, I got my iron test done again, and my levels had gone up significantly. I mean, they still weren't perfect, but they were at the point where they were no longer a concern, and the doctor never ever mentioned a blood transfusion ever again. So that was the first sign to me that I knew that I was on to something, that I could literally heal my body and provide my body with everything it needed just by eating healthier foods, paying attention to what I ate, and just really being in tune with my body. And I remember my family was a lot I remember some of my family members were really concerned, saying, you know, should you become a vegan if you have another life to support? And they were concerned when I stopped taking my iron pills. But honestly, I had a pretty peaceful pregnancy. The transition was not difficult for me at all. A lot of people are shocked when they learn that I transitioned in the middle of my pregnancy, but it was just like, if I had known about it sooner, I would have done it a long time ago, way before the pregnancy even started. In terms of weight gain or weight loss, I did gain a lot of weight during my pregnancy, but I think it's mostly because I'm just naturally a small person, and I was carrying a large baby around. My daughter ended up being 8 pounds when she was born, so it was just like all the weight was in my stomach, and after I gave birth, the weight came off so easily. I actually think I weighed less after the pregnancy than I did before the pregnancy. So it was like weight was never an issue. I bounced back pretty fast after I gave birth. I did have to have a C-section due to complications during the birth. It was an emergency C-section, but it was completely unrelated to being vegan or having a vegan diet. That's pretty much it. But if you have any additional questions, I'm sure that there's something that I meant to talk about that I missed. So if you have any other questions regarding the topic, just let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.